Hello, this is Instructor Williams. I am the Technology Instructor for the Antioch Public Library District. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube page today. In today's video, we will be covering Microsoft Word 2016 Intermediate Part 1. Our objectives for this video are to open an existing file, to go through Auto Spellcheck and Manual Spellcheck, as well as grammar checks. Opening an existing file. In order to open an existing file, we must come down to our File Explorer, this yellow folder on the bottom of our screen. We need to pick what directory or location our file is in. And we are going to open up the file John Smith. That is how you open an existing file. When we look at this document on the screen, we see that some of the words have squiggly lines underneath them. And those squiggly lines tell us that something is wrong with that part of the text. If it is a red squiggly line, like here for vacation, here for repelling, Colorado, in the States, that tells us that there is a spelling error. If it is blue, like Rocky Mountains, that tells us there is a grammatical error. If we have a small document, like the one that we are looking at, it may be easier to do what is called auto spell checking. Auto spell check. With auto spell check, we can simply locate the word. For instance, in the third paragraph, we're going to look at Colorado. And all we do is we bring our cursor on top of the word and hit the right click button. And it gives us the recommended correction. And we can click on that with the left click button on our mouse, and it corrects the spelling. So that is an auto spell check. I can do that with Rocky Mountains as well. Since it is blue, we are looking at it as a grammatical error. So if I right click on the blue squiggly line, it tells me the recommended correction is Rocky Mountains, everything capitalized, since it is a proper noun. Now, if we have a document that is several pages long, say we're writing a pamphlet or a book or a college term paper that's going to be 20, 30 or more pages, it could take a lot of time to go through and autocorrect every one of these throughout the entire document. So the other way that we can do it is through manual spelling and grammar check. And we do that by coming up here to the Review tab, way up here at the top blue area. It says Review. And then in here we come to Spelling and Grammar. And it gives us a pop-up window on the right-hand side, and we can go through and choose how we want the corrections to be made. Our options for spelling: the first error it found is the word trip, and it gives us recommended corrections, and we can choose one of those. And then our final command, we can either choose to ignore all, or to add the word to the dictionary. So if I wanted to change this particular instance of trip to TRIP, I would come down here and click the word change. If I know that that's going to be the issue throughout the entire document, I can do change all, and it will change every instance of TRTIP to TRIP. I would recommend staying away from change all unless you are absolutely certain, because you might have this type of lettering in a word that really does exist, and if you change all, it will change the center of a word. And so I would recommend going through each individual instance and changing it as needed and ignoring as needed. The reason this is the manual spelling is because you go through instance by instance, but it goes through and finds the searches for you. It doesn't automatically change it, and so you have to manually make that change. As opposed to the auto change, where I can just come in, click on vacation, say, okay, change it to vacation. So there's more steps in the process when I'm doing the manual, because it allows me to be really detailed on what I want to change and what I don't want to change, or how I want to change it. So what we're going to do now is go through a simple exercise with this. I'm going to close out this document. And in here, and we're going to open up letter spelling. And as we can see, we have several red squiggly lines throughout the document. What we want to do is check the grammar and the spelling in this document. So our first question is, where do we find the spelling and grammar checker in the ribbon? We find that under the Review tab, and in the first grouping called Proofing, the very first one is Spelling and Grammar. So we can click on that. It opens up our window, and it gives us recommendations for how to change these words. So we're going to change faculty or facility. So we're going to change facility. Then it moves us on to the next one, which is a misspelling of 14. We can choose to change that. Next one is received. We can see this is a violation of the English word I before E except after C. So since it's after C, E becomes, and since it's after C, the E comes first, so we're going to change it to received. Implement is spelled with an E, not an I, so we're going to change that one. And information is spelled F-O-R-M, not F-R-O-M. And when it's all said and done, we get a pop-up window saying, hey, everything is all said and done. And from there, we don't have any more lines, so technically all of the spelling is correct. So in this brief tutorial video today on Microsoft Word 2016 Intermediate, this is a summary of what we went over. We went over how to open an existing file, how to use the Auto Spellcheck and Manual Spellcheck, as well as the Grammar Check, and how to identify what needs to be corrected and where those tools are located. Once again, this is Instructor Williams, and I would like to thank you on behalf of the Antioch Public Library District. For more technology-related videos and other Antioch Library programs, please be sure and click the subscribe button.